Senator James Lankford. He is the lead Republican negotiator. The lead Democratic negotiator, Senator Chris Murphy, said it is tragic Republicans are tying the border aid package to the issue of Ukraine aid. He said Republican demands right now are unreasonable and must become reasonable in the next 24 to 48 hours.
This started with the Biden administration saying that we need to do a national security package that has Israel, Ukraine, Taiwan, and the border.
What?
And then they immediately came out and said we need more than funding. And if I talk to just about anyone in the country outside of Washington, D.C., they would say the border is chaotic right now. We had the highest number of crossings of any September ever last September, the highest October ever, the highest November ever, and we had the highest single day just this last week. It is literally spiraling out of control. All we're trying to do is to say what tools are needed to be able to get this back in control so we don't have the chaos on our southern border. So the problem is the administration is trying to be able to figure out how to be able to just slow down a little bit of the flow. We had 12,000 people, for instance, on Tuesday of this last week that crossed the border illegally. They're trying to figure out some way to be able to say, well, we'll do a few thousand less, but not actually stop the flow. Just to give you a perspective,
So what would stop
we've
the
had
flow?
more people cross illegally. Well, I would tell you a lot of things. Let me just give you a context piece on this, though. You take any year during the Obama administration, we've had more people cross illegally just October, November, and December so far this year than we had in any year in the Obama administration. So this is not a matter of just let's turn it down a little bit. We've got to figure out how to be able to manage this. The first things first is asylum. Right now, people come in and say, I want to request asylum. There's so many people, and the cartels know it, and the smugglers know it, that they can throw thousands of people a day. There's no way to process that. And so it's years before they're processed, so they're just released in the country.
I thought
that
the White
becomes
House
a
was
pull
willing
factor for
on
more.
asylum to tighten those regulations.
Right now, we're actually screening about 500 people a day for asylum. A typical day in this last week was 10,000 people a day. Even if you double or triple, as the administration would say, well, let's just double the number of screenings we're doing. Now we're screening 1,000 people a day, and we're still releasing 9,000 people into the country. So that doesn't manage the actual issue. As long as we're saying we'll screen 1,000 and then we'll release everyone else into the country, the cartels know that, and everyone coming will just pay the cartels, and they know they'll be released. The House Republicans laid out a very good proposal, very thorough, covered a lot of issues, had no Democrats. Obviously, we're not going to get 20, 30 Democrats in the Senate or a Democrat White House to be able to sign that. But that doesn't mean we just sit and do nothing. We've got to be able to solve this crisis with 10,000 plus people a day on average just this last week crossing every day, and 500,000 so far in the last 2 months. We can't just sit and say we're going to do nothing.
You are proposing a new expulsion authority similar to Title 42 that would also automate a border shutdown if the number of migrants crossing hits a certain level. You'd mandate electronic monitoring for everyone, including children. And you want to restrict the administration's parole authority to release migrants from detention.
And right now, there's been no consideration for the White House of how do we actually manage the capacity issues that are there. They seem to be focused on how many people can we just release into the country and tell them we'll do a hearing sometime later, when literally we don't know these people. Literally thousands of people have crossed the border just in the past few months that this administration identified as what they call special interest aliens, specifically saying they're a national security risk, that they were released into the country on their own recognizance.
Treason.
President Biden says that you, sir, are giving Vladimir Putin a Christmas present because this doesn't look like it's going to pass in 2023, and it's unclear when it could.
I don't meet very many Americans that think what's happening at the border is going well. And even the president's team themselves actually said if you hand them more money, it doesn't solve the problem. It just facilitates more people coming into the country. We have drugs coming into the country. We have national security risks coming into the country. And they've literally shut down legal migration. The San Ysidro port, the busiest port in America, was shut down this weekend as they moved all the staff off of legal migration to help facilitate illegal migration. That's got to stop.
No, we're seeing in our own polling that this is a top issue for Americans. And this linkage to Ukraine, the president says if they don't get this funding now.
No. The focus is, we hear from so many people, is why would we deal with other people's national security and ignore American national security? Why would we literally allow people across our southern border this administration labels national security risks by the thousands coming into the country, separate from just the migrants that are coming from employment? We have individuals they've literally labeled national security risks coming into the country. Why would we not work to be able to stop that? We had the highest number of crossings of any September ever last September, the highest October ever, the highest November ever, and we had the highest single day just this last week. It is literally spiraling out of control.